Hello, and welcome to this next video in the series Lyric German Latin Diction. Again, this is for preparation for the B minor Mass with Daniel Sanchez, and I am Dan Summer. So, in this video, we're going to go over some thoughts on lyric diction. And this isn't specific to Latin or German or anything. These are just general principles. And I wanted to get them out there because I think this is a really important part of working with Daniel, and also one of the aspects of working with Daniel that I really, really appreciate. So, when we look at diction, a lot of times we think about just the rules of pronunciation. How are we supposed to say things? What is the person? What is the audience listening for? What sounds authentic? And so, a lot of times, what we think about in terms of the rules of diction is what are the sounds that the audience needs to hear. Number one, in order to understand the words, and then also understand them in a way that feels authentic to them and to their experience as someone who speaks the language. And so that's often what we're talking about when we say the rules of diction. We're talking about what are the sounds that the audience needs to hear. And then the second part of that is a little more subjective, which is how do I make those sounds when I'm singing? And so this is a little bit more personal. The first one we often decide on, either through taking a diction class, or when we work with a conductor, they make their preferences clear, or in an ensemble, things like that. We know what those things need to be, and we know what those sounds need to be. But then it's a more personal approach. How do I make those sounds when I'm singing? And one of the things I really like about working with Daniel is he does give you that space to figure that out for yourself as an individual singer, but also knowing that it does need to fit into the larger context of the ensemble. So I just want to look at this little diagram here. And so a lot of times we look at diction, and we do our preparation with diction. And then we start looking at vocalism. How can I start to blend the sounds that I'm making and how into a healthy vocal output? And so that's kind of our initial work and our prep as singers. And then also adding in the musical aspects of that. And so when we can merge all of these together, we get a really quite dynamic experience that affects all of them. And again, Daniel is super clear with the musical aspects. He gives the freedom for the vocalism, and the diction is kind of where things have a little bit of flexibility if we are aware of vocalism and music. Especially in Bach, where we have such intense music and such very high demands placed on vocal ability, we have to be flexible with the diction sometimes. And so that might mean doing something that is linguistically not super appropriate, but in the musical context or the vocal context, it makes sense. And so as we go through all of the rules of diction and the approaches to the character of the language and the specifics of the sounds that we make, all of this should be viewed in the context of good, healthy singing and tasteful music making. And I know Daniel is going to be guiding us a lot with the music making, and we are responsible for the vocalism and making sure that our diction matches. So, it's a very intricate and intersection, I guess. This is the great intersection of different parts of the music making experience as singers. So just wanted to put that out there, and also again just highlight that Daniel is very aware of vocal needs and vocal demands within this context, and that's one of the reasons I really like working with him. Just jumping to IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet. It's a great tool. I've used it a lot. I've made lots and lots of IPA transcriptions for various things over the years, and it's a great tool. And if you are familiar with that tool, I'd encourage you to use it. I'm going to be using it somewhat, throughout this series, and as we go over all of the Latin. If you have a different system and it works for you, that's fine. It's great. The main goal of all of this stuff is so that we're able to call on it, and it becomes a little bit second nature. So by the time, if you're still looking at your phonetic marks at the time of the performance, it really doesn't matter what you wrote down. So whatever tools you have to begin the internalization process of all of these things, or as a reminder, there are going to be some things where IPA is a great tool as a reminder, or whatever system you use. But yeah, so I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about IPA. I personally have a love-hate relationship with it, and so I just wanted to share that with you. We will be using IPA, but also feel free to use your own system if you feel that will get you the desired results. All right, I think that's it for now. I'll see you in the next one.